What's happening? Benton here. Thanks for joining me. How is everybody? So I was just attempted to listen to Drew World Order Chalk Body Outline YouTube channel. What's happening? Somebody's in here. Good morning. Or night. Some people stay up all night. I saw Kim Before the Storm was in my. I had started a video. I was trying to do some experimentation with the StreamYard, and somehow it scheduled a live stream, but it never showed up on YouTube where I could delete it. But I saw Kim Before the Storm was in those comments in the live chat of that video, saying something about trying to get my location. He said he needs me to go live so he can pinpoint my location. I'm assuming, does that mean he's implying that he wants to do violence, to inflict violence upon me? Is that what he's implying? I don't know. But like I said before, when one is employing a strategy of intimidation and attempting to instill fear into someone, but what happens when there's no plan B? But I did get a kick out of Kim going on with Drew and Tinfoil, who, by the way, Tinfoil can't stand any of this First Amendment auditor stuff. He absolutely hates that stuff. And I did notice that Tinfoil really had trouble biting his tongue listening to Kim. So if anybody's not sure what I'm talking about, I was listening to Drew did a live stream, The Abyss, over at Get Chalked Up. And I'm planning to take some time off from work, perhaps tomorrow. Although since I have a convicted felon is apparently implying that he's attempting to find my location in order to do violence upon me. I don't know. Maybe I should leave. Maybe I should, since I am in, out here in his part of the country. Maybe I should leave this area before I take my time off. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Shout out to. I'm having trouble seeing who that is. Yeah, shout out to Mr. McGee. Yeah, maybe time for me to stop running this part of the country, since I got apparent lunatics on the internet who want to do harm to me. Gotta love that. But I guess that's what happens when a big, tough, strong bully doesn't know how to use his words. And that man damn sure can't listen. Well, I've got all the clips, and certainly many of my views were misrepresented. Where they were certainly misrepresented on Drew's live stream. Now, I understand that Drew doesn't care, and that Drew just kind of more or less thinks it's all funny. It's all fun and games. Now, Tinfoil would absolutely love to fuel O'Kim up to get him to come after me in the IRL. Meanwhile, these claims Kim claiming to be a Christian and a follower of Christ. The thing about that Kim may not be aware of is that tinfoil only really tolerates that. That has to be performed only consistent to tinfoil's actual beliefs. And I believe he's a Catholic. I'm not exactly sure how that works. But see, now here's what's interesting to me is I thought this was America and we all believed in freedom. See, I'm dumb enough to believe that all of these people on the internet that espouse these certain views, that they actually have a desire to practice freedom in the real world, which would mean more or less we all get to believe whatever we want to believe. And then I posted a comment on that live stream. I was referencing Talcott. Now, the problem for Kim is that he's not a good listener, such that he will listen to half of a sentence, but then he must interject. As I so astutely pointed out, he must interject because he does not trust the speaker at the level of where are they trying to take the conversation. Hey, what's happening, Woody? Good to see you, brother, man. What's happening, partner? I was over at Get Chalked Up. I was catching up on Drew's live stream where they had Tinfoil and Kim Before the Storm speaking on yours truly, misrepresenting my viewpoint. Now, Kim, I don't believe misrepresented it so much as he demonstrated a complete and total misunderstanding, lack of understanding with respect to some of my espoused views. Now, let's not forget, now, Tinfoil rarely, if ever, espouses any views of his own. I would challenge anybody to go listen to, go find everything you can on the internet of Tinfoil speaking, and what you'll find are very few actual assertions or ideas. Now, this brings us back to his, why can't he just answer questions? And this also gets us to this idea of when smart people play dumb. And I see a lot of smart people playing dumb. Trying to have it both ways. Certainly, this intelligent being known as Tinfoil Straightjacket, aka Toilet Bowler, certainly understands that if he can engage in a contest with me, in which I am always made to present my ideas first, and that he can lay back in the cut, or what Drew referred to as counter punching only, that would put me at a tremendous disadvantage. Now, I have witnessed many people allow Tinfoil to do this to them because they are not strategic thinkers. But that has nothing to do with me. Oh, Musical Secret, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Nice to chat with you for the first time yesterday. That was awesome. And I just realized this trailer, I was planning on having this trailer repaired, the one that I damaged yesterday through which is actually bizarre because the chances of, because that electrical cable is made to disconnect from the trailer, the fact that it somehow had enough force to break that box off, I find interesting. But I realized I'm supposed to drop that trailer at the customer today. So I'm going to have to call the company and see what they want me to do. I guess I could have it fixed en route, but I don't know if I want to do that or not. What's everybody up to today? So I'm thinking about, I'm going to be taking some time off here pretty soon. And I do have a screenshot from this other live stream that I had posted that had been, it's been posted for several hours. YouTube won't allow me to delete it for some reason, where Kim is saying that he needs me to go live so he can get a fix on my location, thus implying that he intends to do me some kind of harm in the real world. And one thing I noticed about Kim Before the Storm is the very first time I talked to him, he just immediately was trying to take it IRL. He was wanting to meet up with me in real life, which I always find to be a tad strange. As well as when he was talking to JG, he was offering to purchase JG a bus ticket under the auspices of, well, you can come stay with me in my trailer out here in some remote area, a presumably remote area, and I can get you work on a ranch, which is, it's creepy and fucking weird. Let's be honest. That's a creepy. It's creepy and motherfucking weird to make these offers to strangers over the internet. I believe we can all agree. Now, this is what the Talcott thing. This is what I was trying to. I was using abstraction to make a larger point to Kim, being that, you know, it's kind of weird and strange, and that Jack Talcott himself had attempted to do this. Jack Talcott had actually met some homeless drug addicts where he lives in Spokane, Washington, and had invited them into his home because Jack Talcott seems to be suffering from some similar psychology to Kim before the storm, such that he really doesn't seem to have anybody to interact with. So he's thus has no other option but to come into these panels. Now, that may not be the case for Kim before the storm, but I was making a comparison between Talcott's behavior and also the fact that literally everyone in the live chat knew who Jack Talcott was. But Kim before the storm, like many normies, like many people I've observed who have a limited capacity for abstraction, what I've noticed is that when I'm trying to have a conversation, when I'm trying to use abstraction to tie several seemingly unrelated concepts together, what I've noticed is that many people, especially with more narcissistic aspects of their personality, and I think we can all recognize that, you know, society and the individuals that comprise the masses, especially in the Western world, have become and are continuing to become more and more narcissistic over time, and are thus exhibiting these narcissistic traits. And the fact is that, yeah, JG, shout out to JG, my ersatz co-host of late, he's been able to very astutely point this out, in spite of his failings in other areas that I have commented on. I just tend not to do that. I tend not to be too harsh when he's actually on the broadcast, and that is probably out of regard for him, you know, perhaps treating him gently, maybe like Christ would want me to do, you know, love thy neighbor as thyself, you know, the golden rule type of thing, which I do believe Kim before the storm himself was repeatedly mentioning the golden rule. So it seems to me like when I was homeless, you know, if I was calling into live streams where many of the participants on the panels were, you know, referring to me as a schizo and, you know, implying and gaslighting and implying that I may be experiencing some forms of paranoia and schizophrenia, you know, well, I might want to have, here's the golden rule. If I was that person, I would probably appreciate that there was at least one person willing to treat me like an actual full human being. But I will state my opinion, and I have actually told JG, hey, man, you do realize that you sound some type of way when you say these things, right? And then Drew did correctly point out that JG does question people like myself when I refer to these direct experiences of Christ, which I do have an answer for every time, by the way. But then why am I one of the few people who's able to, and I knew Drew, I know Dark Glasses Woody has this ability. I know In a Yurt with Books has this ability. There seems to be a separation in these so-called truth communities. Woody, what do you think about this? And I do want to catch up with the comments I see coming in. Thank you all for the comments. I do appreciate it. And I know I'm a bit all over the place, but I've been listening to people talk about me, which I do enjoy. Of course, I do. I am a diva, which meaning that I do become the center of attention without really trying. I would say that is one description of a diva. I am the center of attention without trying to be the center of attention. But unlike some of the people who are not facing up to their narcissism, I am embracing mine and attempting to minimize these discussions of my personality. Believe me, I could come on here and just talk for 7 hours about my personality if I wanted to. Now, let's move on to, I was being made fun of by, I believe, Pick, who I don't believe has been listening to my live stream. and I was being made fun of by Tin, who he has no intellectual integrity, and in fact, he will know one thing to be true, but he wants you to believe that he's a Christian who believes in Christ, but then he's out here behaving as a devil in the real world, literally lying, obfuscating, misrepresenting, muddying the waters, sowing the seeds of confusion. So he's more or less implying that I have nothing better to do. Sir, the fact is, not that you care about the facts, Mr. Tinfoil, but the facts are that I would say that more than half of my time on these live streams, I've been mining fiat, which means I've been earning somewhere around 50 cents every minute that I do these live streams, meaning that I'm performing my job duties as an over-the-road long-haul truck driver. And I'm multitasking and making, I would say, maximum use of my time. But then it's being implied that I more or less am lazy. It's being implied that I'm lazy and have nothing better to do. Now let me, and see, what's funny is that I'm such a grinder and I have such a strong work ethic that I don't even really give myself credit. And look, I will brag. Let me brag a little bit, if I may. Let me toot my own horn. I don't really take it to heart how strong a worker I am. The fact is, it's provable through my logs that I've literally worked every day in January so far, except for one. I put up 10 at the level of my mileage that I drive every day. And I'm planning to put up another 0 tomorrow. Although now strategically I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to actually leave the area because there's a violent felon, a former convict referred to as Kim before the storm, who's made it known that he's actually attempting to get a fix on my location. How about that? And I don't know that I want to potentially go to prison in the state of Arizona, right? So I do want to point that out, the many fallacies being directed at me. But I would say the fact that these people are willing, that have no issue presenting their own dishonor and lack of integrity to anyone who wants to examine the evidence and the public record, that doesn't really say anything about me, I would say. And the peanut gallery can always be swayed at the level of ridicule, but I mean, what is the relevance of the peanut gallery? Let me get past the popo up here, and then we'll try to take a gander at Woody's comment here. And I know I opened several different tangents to explore. So, and then, like I said, I'm planning to take the day off tomorrow, and maybe I will go back through my live streams. Although I may have to delay that for a few days out of concern for my own physical safety, potentially. We'll see how that goes. But no, not the popo, actually. But I certainly have all of these live streams. So Kim before the storm didn't seem to understand that I was making a larger point and I was connecting it to him. But then again, the lack of trust. He does not trust me to do these things. Why would you blame him, really? I guess at the end of the day, he can't. And the truth community, you can't. I call it sometimes that you can't handle the truth. Let me see if I can catch up on these comments. Said, hanging with the ex. So that may not be a good idea, Woody. How's that going? She had a pipe burst. Oh, how convenient at her place. She's staying over. Wow. Precarious times indeed, sir. Precarious times indeed. And also, yeah, that is a little odd. Kind of like how Hindus are always trying to start a business with you when they drink. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure what that means, Woody. It is easier to dismiss uncomfortable ideas. Amen. be a ridicule than it is to address them and push beyond the current false reality. Amen, brother. Amen. Mr. McGee, Kim was in chat quoting, dude, I screenshotted that. We Are the Gang Stalkers by Rusty Cage. Comes off pretty unstable. Well, see, that's what I found to be interesting is that one of the first things he said when he went live with Drew and Tinfoil was he said, we, meaning himself, Drew and Tinfoil, he said, we are normal, and then contrasted that with JG and myself. And then previous to that, a few days ago, Kim Before the Storm was recognizing JG's as a schizo, and then Kim Before the Storm was calling himself a schizo, and then said to me, well, don't you think you bit and have some schizophrenia? And I said, no, absolutely not, because I don't. Thankfully, that's not absolutely not something that I contend with. But now, and then also Kim Before the Storm also is now trying to claim autism. And then he's also starting to talk about a spectrum. So what I'm starting to see very quickly with Kim is that he's actually adopting many of my mannerisms, and he's beginning to parrot back to me many of the things that I've said to him, which I find very strange and bizarre. And I certainly notice these things, And then again, just like Talcott, Kim Before the Storm, he's always going to be happy when we're talking about him, no matter what the context is. But I will certainly use him as an example to make points. And the fact is, I will always hold true to my intellectual integrity, even if it possibly exposes me to physical violence, which literally, dude, I'm headed in that man's general direction as far as I can tell right now. Is this the type of person who would actually try to find me? Now, was he the one that asked me? Oh, shit. Hang on. I got to get a Bluetooth headset. My apologies, folks. I have trouble keeping up with the different users sometimes, but I believe it may be been Kim Before the Storm who asked me, had anybody ever, more or less came and found me and just popped up out of nowhere in real life, was like, hey, Benton, how's it going? Yes, that has happened to me before. Absolutely. Most definitely. And then In a Yurt with Books, kind of being slandered as well on that live stream with Drew. Now, Drew does have a history of this sort of pot stirring, but then he will also, Drew will behave as if he's my friend. Me and him and EBT did a live stream on EBT's channel. Well, actually, they did a live stream and I called in. And we were all buddy-buddy. Everything was great. Drew told some things about his father. Drew seemed to display some vulnerability. Now, this is where the autism comes in, is that, I'm not able to, part of the autism is that I'm not able to form bonds with people in the moment like that. Right. Now, maybe, who knows? I can't speak for Drew, but then Drew has no problem, talking about me and Yurt some type of way on his live stream. But then, he is right in that it is the internet, and there's a certain element of that. But what about these? And then I don't think Drew would have any interest in meeting up with people in real life. But now we have this person, Kim Before the Storm, who wants to take it from online to in real life, which I find to be strange. And that's why I told him, I said, yeah, I would meet up with you, but we're going to live stream it, because otherwise it's just literally a mandate. Two dudes who met each other online are now going to go have coffee or something. That is kind of fucking strange, any way you slice it. Unless there's some kind of reason, actual reason, to meet up in real life. Hey, what's happening, Tranquil Vortex? Good to see you. Nice talking to you right before I went to sleep. And there is something to this MK Ultra platform, whatever it is that Yurt calls it, because, normally I have no trouble going to sleep. And I don't know that I ever actually went to sleep last night. I certainly laid down. I certainly got rest. I don't know that I ever entered into a deep sleep last night, which I credit to the driving, the intense, more or less 8.5 hours of intense driving, 9 hours of intense driving, white knuckle action, and then also the MK Ultra drama bonding platform. But I would like to get opinions because the fact is, I believe everybody experiences, paranoid thoughts. And, I'm observing my thoughts in real time here, having developed that ability through meditation and various other practices. So now I'm like, is Kim just pushing my buttons? Because he has stated that he never wants to go back to jail. But he's also said that kind of in the context of, he's almost implying that he would want to have some kind of a standoff with the police. But I'm sort of reading into that. He never overtly stated that. So does anybody think I'm in physical danger? Because the fact of the matter is, I'm actually showing video, of where my truck is. I'm showing video outside of the cab as I'm driving, so that it is possible using Google Maps and Google Street View to determine my actual location, where I am at a particular time, right? And then, I am headed into his general area. And although I did live on the streets for 6 straight years, I don't necessarily fear for my safety on that level. But, talking, and I do talk shit. And that's, when he came in this last time, right before he rage quit, and brother, this is the internet. When there's a back and forth and a raised voices and two people are talking over each other and then one person disconnects, bro, that's a rage quit 100% of the time. It's almost like, are you new to the internet? Because that's what that is. You can deny that all you want. And the fact is, if you had that interaction with Tinfoil, that would only ever be a rage quit to Tinfoil. See, this person, Tinfoil, has no intellectual integrity whatsoever. And by the way, I'm not the one who condemns Tinfoil to hell. That's what the God of his Bible says he is going to do to people like Tinfoil. The fact is, Tinfoil is absolutely, through his own speech and actions, involved in perpetrating evil. And if he doesn't repent, just like Jurassic Liars likes to say, he will burn in hell based on what he believes. And people then want to construe that as, oh, I'm condemning him to that fate. Well, I would say that if that's what Tinfoil truly believes, that isn't he sort of putting himself in that zone? I don't believe I'm the one making that determination. Meanwhile, does the Bible not? And we're not getting into Bible discussion. Here's where we get confused on the panels. I'm abstractly referencing the Bible to make a larger point. And what I've noticed with a lot of these comments being directed towards yours truly, and what I've recognized by observing the general public is that, and the fact is, folks, it's very possible that I have a double-digit IQ. Like, that's not hyperbole. That is very much in the realm of possibility. Now, I can tell you where my level of intelligence lies is that I'm super good at abstraction. I can call to mind an entire concept at the level of perception very easily, and I can take one aspect of that larger concept and I can separate it from the larger concept at a level of perception, and I can very easily work with it without feeling an emotion, without needing to relate to that concept. Now, what I've noticed in the general public, and this was back to the larger point, the earlier point about narcissism, well, the fact is, I believe we can distill narcissism down to, at a level of thought, at a modus operandi level. And I will borrow something that, and I've forgotten who actually used Tranquil Vortex. Thank you, Tranquil Vortex. And I do believe that this is where we get into the collaborative building aspects of these live streams. And yeah, am I the am I the slack-jawed yokel hick? Not a country boy, not a redneck, by the way, but am I the slack-jawed yokel hick, born on the bayou, swamp person, grew up on the edge of the Mississippi River Delta in a time warp, born in 1975 in Arkansas. It might as well have been 1975. Part of this is I'm just rowdy enough and grew up a certain type of way. I'm desensitized to appearing weird in public. And I hear these people talking about that it takes courage and all of this to go onto these panels. Well, not for me, it doesn't. This is nothing to me. Now, what's difficult to me is to go on somebody else's panel and to not get triggered by nonsense. And that's another thing. I see people like, and I know I'm all over the map, but please bear with me. I will get to where I'm going. I see people like Kim Before the Storm calls into Drew's live stream and immediately references one of my comments, but applies it to himself. Oh, well, the problem is that Kim Before the Storm, I have a trouble tolerating nonsense. Well, I've got literal live streams on this channel that may be privated right now. But look, I don't really give a fuck. I may just go back and make all of my content public. I mean, on some level, I really don't give a fuck. IDGAF, but I've got actual live streams entitled, more or less something about how I have a problem tolerating nonsense. So it's like and I don't believe that I'm originating these concepts, but these concepts that I'm perceiving, because if I'm labeled as intelligent, a big part of that is that I'm really in touch with my intuition. Intuition being a perception. It's not a thought. It's not an emotion. Intuition is knowledge gained, knowledge acquired or accessed outside of logic and reason. So I'm tapping into these things that are arguably, within the zeitgeist. So really, I'm not doing anything other than almost, and I don't want to go occult or new agey, but almost like a medium purports to do. It's like I'm channeling the ideas, right? So realistically, it's my ability to work with these concepts. So I would say narcissism at the level of an interface, at the level of how a person with narcissistic traits, the way in which that manifests at a level of modus operandi, shout out to Tranquil Vortex, and this is where I think we can build on one another, is I will credit Tranquil Vortex with introducing the concept, because I love it when people say, well, and Drew does this. Why? Because Drew does exhibit intellectual integrity and honesty. Drew will say, shout out to Benton, like Benton says. But Kim Before the Storm references concepts that originate with me and never credits. So let me credit, I believe it was Tranquil Vortex, the modus operandi, the interface, the level at which these people with narcissistic traits interface is literally everything they experience exists in relation to them and them only, such that they're triggered by my abstraction. They cannot follow my abstractions. They must pause the conversation and relate in real time to the concept that I'm only referencing through abstraction to make a larger point. Now, here's what Kim should realize, is that at least half of the audience is more intelligent than myself and has no trouble following where I'm going, and in fact is following my narrative and the tapestry that I'm weaving. And they're also, shout out to Dark Glasses Woody, I guarantee you, Woody, as he hears me weaving my tapestry, Woody is weaving his own tapestry, and he will weave my tapestry into his tapestry. And then at some point he will write me some genius level email, and I'm either too fucking intoxicated to understand it, or I'm recovering from a fucking serious illness and I don't have the resources to understand it. And now I'm a bad person in some way, because my internet friend Woody spent his time sending me this brilliant piece of writing. I'm just gonna have to read the fucking thing on the live stream. Is the only way I'm gonna get through it, Woody. So yeah, look for a 2-hour live stream soon where I just read Woody's emails if he doesn't mind. How about that? Maybe In a Europe with Books will come on and help me interpret it. I mean, good Lord. And one thing about Kaczynski, whoever wrote that stuff, shout out to the Unabomber, and that's always been my avatar. I love the second Unabomber sketch. I love that. Something about that image appeals to me. And that was part of the graphic, part of my graphics for my podcast. What I found about Kaczynski's writing, very dense, very it's well written, but really there's a lot packed into every sentence. Same thing with Woody's writing. There's a lot there, such that the reader is really going to have to focus in. And I just have not had to focus, sir. But as you may be able to tell from my recent live streams, I'm getting there. And look, let's just be honest. There was levels of, and it's not that it was some high level content, because it certainly wasn't, but there was some of the things I spoke on yesterday morning, right before Mitchell came on with me, and then also, not too long after that. Some of that stuff was fairly high level, arguably, I would say. Far more high level than anything Kim Before the Storm or Tinfoil himself have ever exhibited. The fact is, Tinfoil's never put out anything at the level of an intellectual discourse that can even come close to that. Now, is he capable of it? Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm getting there, Woody. That's the moral of the story is, hey, $200 a week of nutritional supplements ain't all for nothing. Like this shit, it's not all placebo effect. But let me catch up on the chat, because I know I just opened about 12 different cans of worms. Yeah, exactly. And Tranquil Vortex and credit where credit's due on that. But that's what I'm saying is, it's the trust where, Tranquil Vortex may trust me with a concept, and then I will spit something out of my mouth and trust Woody with the concept, or I'll trust that In a Yurt with Books will take that ball and run with it. That's trust. And what I see with people like Tinfoil Straitjacket, Jack Talcott, and Kim Before the Storm is a lack of trust. Which in Tinfoil's case, if you apply that to me specifically, that I may have earned that distrust. That's very possible. That I will recognize that at the level of my own integrity. That yes, in fact, I did transgress against what I've determined to be a very sensitive individual, and not sensitive in a pejorative sense. Yes, I did, and I honestly can't remember if I ever apologized. But if I have not, then perhaps I should. And I believe I have, but honestly, it's been such a haze between the booze and the alcohol withdrawals and then nearly dying that I really honestly cannot recall. Yeah. But see, here's how I know I'm on the right track. It's not the single digit viewership. It's the constant scroll of live chat and everybody commenting is people I know to be intelligent and thoughtful. That's what I find complimentary, is that people, and yeah, I am kissing the audience's ass a little bit. Yes, I am. But it's the reality that people who are thoughtful and intelligent will listen to me, even though I'm the smartest person that sounds the dumbest. But some of that is that I will play the fool, no problem. And I am just audacious enough to go on here and just speak at length. But, they will absolutely engage and get involved in the live chat. I'm very flattered by that, so thank you. But then I would also say that's very healing. That's even through the virtual form, even here in Alphabet, Google, YouTube's Help It, here in the MK Ultra drama bonding platform, as Yurt replies to it, humanity is so powerful. The human spirit overcomes to the point where our humanity collectively will overcome. Will break through these barriers, will transcend these artificial and arguably evil limitations, and really cannot be stopped. Our humanity, really, it cannot be stopped. Shout out to Crazy Horse, shout out to the culture of the Lakota Sioux Indians. As much as the government has tried, it's found it impossible to completely erase that culture here in the United States. And then what do you see in China? The attacks leveled against the Tibetan monks, the people of Tibet. Well, good luck, China. I don't think China will succeed in stamping out that culture. The Uyghurs, I don't believe that can see. I don't believe it's possible to completely eliminate humanity at that level. I really don't. I don't think it can happen. Good luck with all of that, right? And it's just like, and again, I'm referencing the Bible abstractly. Now, I have allowed the discussions, and this is where my lack of moderation and curation comes into play. In my way, I'm wanting to develop my skills by just allowing more or less all topics. So I think eventually I will feel more comfortable just saying, hey, man, we're not going to talk about that right now if you don't mind, or go take that to your channel if you don't mind, because this is not a Bible channel. This is not a religion channel. This is not a Christ channel. I am a preacher, though, and I will absolutely abstractly reference the Bible to make a point, just like I will reference the Bhagavad Gita. I will reference, many, many, many different works in order to make a point, as I should. But then, what is it about half of the so-called truth community where, any mention of religion and Christianity in particular, it just devolves into some sort of, cacophony of intransigence, thus the title of this live stream. And I would say that I wish the channel was named, maybe I'll rename the channel WRAP and the Truth or Natty. We'll see. I don't want to name every live stream that, but in a way that is apropos, I would say, of the live stream, WRAP and Truth or Natty. And as we're all, Gen X and boomers, right? Shout out to the literal boomer, music holds a secret. And then, the honorary boomers, the Gen Xers, I mean, that is a thing, right? The generation gap is a thing. What's up, D-Rex? Good to see you, bro. Thanks for hanging out. The road's a little rough for me to be catching up with the chat just now. And I think, I do recognize spiritually at the level of, my energy sphere and all of this. The fact is, and I think somebody, it may have been JG that I forget who said what sometimes, but somebody very astutely pointed out that apparently Kim Before the Storm had referenced that he is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. So, if I still have some repressed trauma that I'm in the process of healing in the ways in which, and I have over time, I have been healed of much of my past trauma, and I'm continuing to receive healing, as time goes on. The fact is that where the drama bonding and the trauma bonding comes in is that, if Kim Before the Storm also has this trauma, that maybe, there's something within my sphere that's resonating with something within his sphere, and it's beginning to feed, like a law of attraction type of thing, where we're both attracting that, based on what we're both putting that out, right? I'm willing to take ownership of that, but then at the same time, I believe we can still have that. I think this is where the emotional side of it comes in. Can I have enough of a control of my own emotions, which I believe I am demonstrating, to still interface with all of these ideas and all of these personalities while maintaining my intellectual integrity, which is absolutely important to me. It's very important that I maintain that in my own life for myself. It has nothing to do with anybody but me. Now that's where we get into the what I've said about human beings being almost completely self-interested, other than perhaps a mother with her child, a father with his child. I would say outside of the context of a nuclear family and maybe the grandparents. If you exclude those relationships, I would say that nearly every human being outside of this context behaves almost entirely out of their own self-interest, as they should, by the way. Now, then also, they will be acting based on the interest of those relationships with respect to their nuclear families and their, close extended families. But then I would also say, well, that is also de facto, that's also their own self-interest. It's kind of the same thing. Now, I believe this is the kind of discourse that someone like Kim Before the Storm will listen to me saying these things, and I'm now coming to the realization that his comprehension level of my discourse is not very high. And I'm not, I don't say that to demean or insult him, but as I'm hearing him attempt to parrot back some of, what he has taken away from some of my discourses and monologues and lectures, I don't believe he's really picking up what I'm putting down overall. But I know Woody is. I know Tranquil Vortex is. I know D-Rex is, by the way. Absolutely he is, without question. And I know Music Holds a Secret is. And I don't have a lot of experiences with Mr. McGee, but perhaps he is as well. I know Pick does, but I don't believe Pick is around very often. He was on with Drew and Kim Before the Storm and Tinfoil on that Get Chalked Up live stream. But see, why am I able to follow all of these details and many other people are not? Well, some of it is the undiagnosed autism. Some of it is shout out to Anna Yertman books. I became very excited at the level of astrology when someone had asked, what is your sun sign? It's Virgo. Well, I don't have, my sun is not in Virgo, but I have a lot of Virgo in the old chart there. Well, Virgo, it has a lot to do with details. Well, then we have Yurt himself said that he thinks we have Yurt and myself have a good chemistry and a good rapport at the level of conversation. Well, fire and earth, fire and earth, the Leo and the Virgo. Yeah, why not? But then, what's Tinfoil's sun sign? Maybe that's fire and water, see? What's Kim's sun sign? I don't know. When you get the fire in the water, well, I mean, you see what happens. But yeah, and I am going to be very forceful because I believe I'm supposed to be forceful. And then, like I like to say, never wrestle a pig. You both get muddy and the pig likes it. Well, see, I thrive on this sort of thing. Like I thrive on this level of attack. I was actually kind of did not have a lot of energy earlier. And I had actually attempted a live stream and it didn't really go anywhere earlier. And in fact, most of my podcast episodes, they were born out of many previous aborted attempts, right? So I think, and I asked Tranquil Vortex last night, I'm trying to figure out why am I doing all of this live streaming. And I think I'm actually working on my skill, my broadcasting skills. And I do see that, as time goes on, this ability to broadcast is becoming more and more important. And I believe I have a tremendous advantage over other people. If it's going to be expected in the future that just about everybody will, especially if you look at, remote work, Zoom calls, all of this, that is a form of broadcasting. And that, it's great if people want to come onto my panel and get some broadcasting experience. Yeah, go for it. And I know I already have some level of skill in that vein. I would like to continue to develop those abilities. So maybe that's what I'm doing. Because the fact is, that is kind of a form of live streaming, but it was pre-recorded, my podcast, such that if I listened back to it and I said, well, this doesn't really meet my standard, then I just won't publish it to my website as a podcast. That's, I'm curating my own material over time versus the live stream. Yeah, absolutely. I have the option of making it private, but the fact is anybody can screen record it as I'm broadcasting it. So it is kind of out there, right? And people are watching it live. So it's an increased level of difficulty. So I really enjoy that. And I will see if I can catch up on the comments just ever so slightly. Shout out to Dialectic Truth in the chat. Music Holds a Secret was the last of the baby boom generation. Okay, my apologies. Oh yeah, about boomer. That's right. Somehow it's funny, and in my mind, I've even somehow separated baby boomer from boomer. I'm not really sure why. But then now I do think this comes back to the vigilance and the watching of one's thoughts, because what I observe in somebody like Kim before the storm is he's obviously not monitoring the words that are coming out of his mouth in real time, and simultaneously I've detected that his communication style is that he thinks out loud much of the time. Nothing wrong with that. However, see, I just corrected myself. Well, I cannot correct myself in real time if I'm not actually observing as I speak, because again, I am not the thoughts, I am not the speech, I am the awareness of the thoughts, I'm the awareness of the speech. Yes, this is obvious and basic, but how much of the so-called truth community actually interfaces in the present moment, based on that knowledge. It's easy for one to just say, well, yeah, of course. I would say the only way for me to prove that I truly understand or stand under those concepts or ideas is to demonstrate and to integrate them into my being and to thus act on them in the real world. And I think to some of the audience, what I'm saying is just, yes, it's basic stuff, but then at the same time, what are and I am a member of the audience. This is a kind of, I do in general tend to create the type of content that I myself like to listen to. The fact is, as each day goes by, it is my contention that it becomes more and more difficult to find the style of content that we are creating, by the way, because every one of you is contributing to this in some type of way. And that, I'm not just saying that to kiss up, although I will kiss up to the audience, but I also mean it. Tranquil Vortex, I had a good giggle at myself as I rewatched a live stream. I have such a loud laugh. Oh, and we love your laugh. Volume is important, I learned. Yeah, volume, definitely. And I end up just yelling at the phone sometimes. And believe me, there's a lot of live streams that I don't do simply because I don't want to wake up the people next to me at the truck stop with my loud ass voice. And that's also maybe part of the undiagnosed autism. And I've been loud since day one. I can remember being a child and my family saying to me, we're not in the next county, meaning, you don't have to yell at us. But I've always been this way. I do not have an inside voice. It's just my way. Good morning, Vietnam. What's up, Mason Free? Woody says, I like your layers of deception concept. I wrote a message about it under the WRAP and Truth or Natty video. I'll go back and check that out, sir. As pointed out earlier, even though I don't recognize it all the time, I do work my fucking ass off, even though I don't look at it that way. I just don't like to use that as an excuse. But as much as I'm attacked for like, well, he has nothing better to do than 13-hour live streams. Well, but I earned 50 cents every 60 minutes, every 60 seconds for that entire 9 hours or whatever. So, give me a break. But they will never give me a break, by the way. Yeah, Gen X or Boomer Echoes, I heard someone say recently. That's an excellent point. Yeah, Woody wrote a message about it under the one of the WRAP and Truth or Natty videos. It really got him thinking about the NPC concept. Yes, and I would love to hear your thoughts. And Woody, as much as I tend to ignore your emails, I've got a permanent record of them, and I believe they will become useful at some point. So, I personally would be annoyed if I wrote somebody a very well, let me scratch that. I have wrote people very thoughtful, well-constructed emails that they also ignored. So, yeah, I get it. But perhaps someone remind me. We will go back and revisit Woody's emails. And this is, I'm absolutely going to purchase the equipment to where I can play audio while I'm driving. because I could just pre-record myself actually reading the emails, or I could even have a robot voice read the email while I'm driving. And in fact, I spent about 20 minutes earlier trying to rig up my equipment to do just that, and I just don't have the right equipment at this time to make that happen. Tranquil Vortex, I had a massive rant today. You had one job, kind of rant. Feel better to let it out? Yeah, let it out. And what I would say is, one of the first things I bought when I started truck driving after a long period of no income and very limited income and living as a homeless person for 6 straight years, and really off and on for most of 10 years. One of the first things I bought was a digital audio recorder, such that anytime I felt like I wanted to get something off my chest, I could talk to my digital audio recorder. And you never know, over time, you may find it to where you could just, it's not that difficult to use computer software. I use Audacity on my computer. You can even do this on a phone, possibly. It's not that difficult to, or just press record, make the rant, and then stop the recording. Edit it yourself in real time. You can even pause it if you need to, and then send it to me. I'll play it on the channel. There's many ways in which we can collaborate if we so choose, and that's the main thing I want to see in the so-called truth community, is more collaboration. And this is where, as critical as people want to be of JG, he's frequently collaborating with me on the live streams. Now, is he telling the same stories over and over? Yeah, he is. Probably he needs to tell that for whatever reason. I don't know why he needs to tell those stories. I have no idea. I know this: he has very few people that he can talk to in the real world. Just that lifestyle he's living certainly lends itself to, inhabiting a less than restful state of mind. How about this, folks? Why doesn't tinfoil or Kim before the storm? Why don't you folks teach yourselves, and Drew also, teach yourself formal meditation, learn how to observe your own thoughts in real time, take ownership of your thoughts. Just that alone is very harmful. You say, who is this crazy person thinking all this crazy shit? That's all of us. We all have thoughts where you're just like, if you actually can get some distance from those thoughts, it's like, man, this is crazy. These thoughts are crazy. Well, good. Well, great. We're not our thoughts, but so then go ahead and don't get good sleep. Have your sleep interrupted repeatedly every night for months, if not years on end. Because JG, he can go find the best sleeping spot in his area. He's still not getting a lot of quality sleep. That's just reality. He's getting a few hours. He might get an hour and a half of quality sleep at a time, literally. Because his mind, his body, whatever that is, his essence is having to monitor the environment around him as he sleeps. Just like the Native American trackers that were apparently, pressed into service in the Vietnam War. I believe they were Apache trackers, and the government found that when they gave they wanted to use these Apaches for their tracking abilities, and when they put them into the armed forces and they cut their hair, they gave them their military haircut, they actually lost their tracking abilities. And that part of their training was that they would sleep in a cabin in the woods, and they had to be able to detect the approach of the enemy while sleeping. Well, guess what? I can absolutely detect the approach of the enemy even while sleeping. I've done so repeatedly. And in fact, the only time I failed to do so was when I literally passed out from intoxication and my backpack was stolen. Right. So JG, if he's truly not drinking, and I believe he's not drinking at this time, based on what I'm seeing, so he is able to detect the approach of the enemy. See, so he's necessarily, his body, his essence, his energy sphere, whatever, his psyche is diverting some of its resources. Instead of getting restful sleep, it's being diverted over into monitoring the environment. And he probably has some native in him, just looking at him, to where, and I know he said, yeah, he probably has some native in him, just looking at the guy. and he probably has some of these abilities that I myself have. The fact is, as long as I maintain my sobriety, which of course I will, if Kim before the storm enters my physical area, I will absolutely detect the approach of that enemy without question. I trust and I know that I will. Now, maybe he has some sort of abilities that would enable him to, you know, sneak up on me in a ninja-like fashion. I haven't accounted for that. And perhaps I shouldn't even be letting him know ahead of time that I have, you know, intuitive measures for detecting. Maybe I should grow my hair out again, by the way. I have very short hair. Maybe I should. Perhaps I will. Right. But in fact, I had developed an enemy. I had created an enemy for myself in Santa Barbara, California, actually in Isla Vista. And that this was a person kind of like Kim before the storm. This was a homeless person I met. And I'm not a bicyclist, but I had purchased a bicycle. Actually, I think he had helped me find a bicycle, this guy, and he was a Mike mechanic also. Mike somebody, I'm trying to remember his name. And he was kind of a big, tough guy bully, actually. He was a big, and also what I believe to be a repressed homosexual. And I've detected a lot of repressed homosexuality in the so-called truth community. Well, I'm a lot of things. I'm not a repressed homosexual, okay? I'm certainly not that. I believe tinfoil has aspects of that. So at a certain point, you know, I begin to question, like, what is all this strange aggression, male aggression, masculine energy, you know, being directed towards other males, and then, you know, looking for an opportunity to become aggressive with other aggressive males. You know, like, what is that? I believe I figured out what that is. So I was also seeing this in this person I'd met in Isla Vista, California. So he was wanting to ride his bicycle to Seattle. I was also wanting to go to Seattle. So he more or less had me convinced to bicycle all the way up the coast with him to Seattle. Well, we had a falling out and we became enemies, such that, you know, I did fear for my personal safety. Fear not meaning, oh, I'm scared of him, meaning fear in that, like people say, fear God. Like I feared what would happen if he caught me slipping, right? But at the same time, he did physically attack me at one point, and I was able to utilize my agility to escape his attack. See, but now in my degenerated physical state, I'm not sure that I have the agility. I may still be able to escape on foot, if possible. But I certainly, the moral of the story is I went to watch Seattle on my own, and guess who I detected downtown in Seattle? Yes, that's right, my sworn enemy. And in fact, I saw him before he saw me. And I was like, look at this motherfucker. I've had people do me dirty before in real life. And then I've just been living my life, and I came across them later. And now here I am parking my vehicle, and I'm looking at them from across the street, and I'm thinking, is it worth the charges I'm going to get if I go over there and exact my revenge upon them for the transgressions they've performed against me? And the answer was no. And in fact, I don't really believe in practicing violence. Me myself. There's always that. One moment, I got to check and see how far I am from the fuel stop. It's like about 79 miles from the fuel stop there. Right, dark glasses, Woody. Good on you for not. Oh, it's JG. Hey, what's happening, brother? Good to see you, JG. JG said one of the reasons he did not want to join forces when I was young was because I had to cut my hair short. It felt so wrong to me. There you go, sir. Yeah, there's something to that long hair. I may grow my hair out again. Although I will say, when I chose to be homeless in Arkansas, that in the summer it's so fucking hot and humid. I really got tired of the sweaty, greasy hair after a while. Just shoulder length hair. Yeah. So I will just go ahead and trust in my ability to detect that enemy should he enter into my physical zone. But yeah, the booze, man, is like I've said, if I want to drink, I'm going to drink. Now, thank God, now I don't really even have the option. But the fact is, I could take a week off from work and recover from one session of drinking. But why would I want to do that? That does kind of run counterproductive to $150 of nutritional supplements, $150 to $200 of nutritional supplements a week. Which is it's not going to be that ongoing, but that's what it's been up to this point. So, and I'll reiterate my earlier point that all of these things, all of these notions that are being directed towards me, and again, I thrive on it. Look at what we have going on here as a result. So, I will take something that seems to be negative, and I will transmute it into something positive. I do have that ability, absolutely. But how come I can reference something like the Kybalion, Kybalion? Why can I reference that and nobody gets triggered? But we reference the Bible. If I give a 2 minutes of preaching, now now we have to talk about religion and Christianity for 4 hours. It's really not what it's about, as far as I'm concerned. But I can't wait to watch. It's going to be interesting to see Kim before the storm realize that, well, these are not your friends, sir. Tinfoil and Drew are not your friends. They're never going to be your friends. Tranquil Vortex, I did not join the Air Force. I was accepted into a Bachelor of Commercial Aviation instead and kept her hair, her hair, my hair cut short. Kept it, what, long, you mean? Yeah, very important. Long hair is a thing for sure. What's up? What's up, Drew? Can't we all just get along? Well, I do want to point out, Drew, that I don't really know what I'm doing with YouTube here. And if you want to come on, I know you're probably busy at a yard sale, but if you want to come on, you're more than welcome, obviously. But no, Drew, we can't all get along. And you do. I see you stirring the pot, sir. I was watching your Get Chalked Up live stream with Kim before the storm and Tinfoil and Pick. Now, I will say that Drew and I seem to have buried the hatchet in our own internet, whatever our own internet relationship is. And I don't even like using the term relationship in that context, but I guess peers? I guess we're peers in the so-called truth community, maybe post-conspiracy peers. I don't know. I think we work off of each other well at the level of ideas. But I do want to point out, Drew, that this bozo Kim before the storm, I have a screenshot of him strongly implying that he's trying to get a fix on my physical location as I'm actually literally traveling towards his general area. And he's heavily implying that he might try to find me, and also implying that he might try to inflict physical harm upon me. And I'm not saying that's your fault, but I'm saying that, just be aware of that if you would. Because I don't think Drew really, I don't know that he cares, but I don't think that he actually wants to see any kind of physical harm befall me, as far as I can tell. But, Drew and I seem to have buried the hatchet, but Drew has no trouble stirring the pot, but, I'm aware of that. I'm a big boy. It's not like I don't know that Drew will do these things. And I'll certainly speak my mind about Drew. So we seem to work well in that vein. And Drew cannot tolerate any form of sycophantry. So, I don't know how long Kim before the storm is going to be able to stick around. Because if you haven't noticed, one of Kim before the storm's big MOs is that he tries to do a lot of mirroring, almost maybe like Jag. Like he mirrors and he will try to equate himself to being your equal or your peer. Oh, well, I'm like you. My dad also does this. My dad, who may be a classical narcissist. Oh, I'm like you. I'm like you. I'm like you. He did that with me also. He also, like, one of the first things he said to me was that he wanted to meet up in real life. He also offered to send JG a bus ticket and try to get him alone in a trailer out in a secluded area, and then offer him work on a farm or a ranch. This is very strange behavior. And that's where the Talcott angle comes in. I was trying to abstractly make a point about using Talcott. That Talcott had similarly invited some homeless drug addicts, some Spokane meth heads, which that may be the worst form of meth head in the country, and that's saying a lot. He invited some Talcott invited Spokane meth heads. Spokane, by the way, the only city in the whole country that was able to successfully steal my rucksack. Shout out to Spokane, Washington. And Talcott, they then robbed him. But Talcott, I correctly deduced, was doing this in order to use them to work out his own bullshit in a way in which I've described as person A using person B for person A's own gratification. And that, in fact, is part of my so-called philosophy that Kim Before the Storm was attempting to communicate to you guys. But unfortunately, he lacks the ability to understand my philosophy well enough to parrot it back to you. So I think that probably says something about his level of intelligence. Not that I'm any kind of friggin' genius. Certainly I'm not. Yeah, there's always that. But, you know, I'm at my, and also I'm recognizing some of this long live streaming. And by the way, Drew, if you're still around, I do most of this live streaming while I'm also earning right around $50 per 60 seconds after taxes. I think if you do the math, if I'm cruising, if I'm making 55 cents a mile minus taxes, probably if I'm traveling 71 miles an hour as I live stream, I'm probably actually mining somewhere around $50 in fiat, maybe a little less, 45 cents every 60 seconds of fiat. But then I understand that you'll let Tinfoil make fun of me, but you know, Tinfoil, does he really not know, or is he just pretending to be dumb? Is he playing dumb? Tinfoil certainly recognizes, oh, does Benton have nothing better to do? Well, I am mining fiat at the rate of about $50 per 60 seconds while I'm doing 7-hour live streams. Now, do I also do some long live streams after my shift's over? Sure, yeah, absolutely. But most of these live streams, I'm simultaneously earning fiat or mining fiat, so lest we forget. So attempting to construe that as I have nothing better to do, well, I'm actually doing one of what many people consider the most productive jobs in the country. And then back to me having nothing better to do. And I know I sound defensive. I don't really care. The fact is, I work more than pretty much any of you. Now, is that something to take glory in? Not really. But I've worked all but one day so far in January. And I'm thinking about taking my second day of the month off tomorrow. And if I don't, it will only be out of fear of my physical safety, because Kim Before the Storm seems to be indicating that he may very well be coming after me in the physical realm. Although I do trust my abilities to detect his approach ahead of time. Although I think I did have long hair. Now that I think about it, when I detected the approach of my enemies in the past. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I need to flee the area as quickly as possible. Well, that's a good point. That I will say anything without. Oh, you're talking to JG. Yeah, go ahead and get JG. I have no problem with that. And I am critical of JG, but the fact is, Drew, that, you know, I'll just go ahead and say it while JG's on here. It seems to me like if we want to talk about Christ, and I'm not trying to make it this religious, but if we want to talk about love thy neighbor as thyself and the golden rule and all of this, you know, and I was homeless and I was living much as JG's living, and I did skateboard, although I was never as good as JG is. We watched the video of JG's high level of skateboarding. He is, I guarantee you, he is somewhat known in the skateboarding community. I wouldn't say he's well known, but he's probably pretty well known to his generation of skateboarders. I'm an older generation, therefore I've never heard of him. But you know, to people from Philadelphia who skateboard, they probably mostly all know who he is. So yeah, he is known on some level, and that is a city of several million people. And whoever's calling in, I will bring. Is that Drew? If it's not Drew, I'm gonna. Who is it? Is it D-Rex? Oh, it is Drew. Okay. Is that you, Drew? Who is this?
Yeah, what's going on, Ben?
Hey, man, thanks for joining.
Yeah, I just had to call in to check your little bitch, JG. He's acting like a bitch in the chat, so I got to treat him like a bitch.
Well, I will say that all's fair, man, and you know, JG has been our AirSats co-host, and I do appreciate that. However, he is open game. You know, it's open season on JG if you can make a point. I will say that.
He's in the chat saying I beat my wife, so he's just saying anything. Just says a guy that just says anything without any validity. Just says shit to say shit.
Well, I mean, we've seen Layla showed her face recently, and that obviously that's you can tell that's never occurred.
Well, I mean, how could you tell? Maybe I did it a long time ago. I didn't, but I'm just saying. I don't know why he's saying that. It's just
well,
saying.
No, I'm being serious. I mean, dude, there's no way you're doing that. You know, there's things called discernment, right?
Dialect Truth said there's a channel called G2G Poncho Pete exposed me as a transgender. Damn, wow. They got me.
Look out.
Damn.
But no, you actually made the most astute point. When you were talking to Kim before the storm in tinfoil, you actually made the most astute point. Is that shout out to Drew's kids, by the way. JG, yeah, man. JG does want to be able to tell these stories of people looking at him funny, but then if I tell my direct experience of Christ at a spiritual level, he does want to then discount it. So you correctly called him out on kind of not practicing what he preaches.
Oh yeah. Anything you experienced, if it's God or whatever Christ, he will say it's not true. But if you question his story, he's like, "No, man, it really happened, bro." I was wearing these sunglasses, missing one eye, and everyone was looking at me. I don't know why, dude.
Yeah, and I will say, when I was on the streets, people did often take my picture, but you know, probably that's because I was so different than everybody else that I stood out. I'm gonna guess. I think when I blend in with everybody else, nobody takes my picture. Like when I'm a truck driver, nobody at the truck stop takes my picture. But when I was a homeless person with a gigantic backpack in the streets, oftentimes people would take my picture. Like that is a real thing. But obviously it's explainable.
Yeah, what are you talking about this morning? I was just jumping in, eating some breakfast.
Well, I was kind of dissecting some of Tinfoil and Kim Before the Storm's commentary with respect to, you know, I have to go from memory because I don't have the technology to actually play the audio and respond to it in real time, while I'm, by the way, earning somewhere around $50 every 60 seconds. Most of this live stream, when Tinfoil says, "Don't I have anything better to do?" Well, I'm accruing about $50 per 60 seconds as I speak to my audience via the internet. So that seems like I'm making pretty good use of the time, don't you think?
I think you and Tinfoil need to just fuck and get it over with. I think you guys love each other.
Well, I'm beyond all of that, but I think there may be something, and I did mention that earlier on the live stream, that I have detected a lot of repressed homosexuality in the so-called truth community. And at a certain point, I myself said, well, what is all this weird aggression towards other males? And then other males are being weirdly aggressive towards me. Like, what is this? And at a certain point, I believe I figured out what that is. So I'm pretty sure I know what that is. And I believe Kim Before the Storm also exhibits that weird aggression. And then also, what do you think about him implying that he might very well be trying to get a lock on my location to do me harm in the physical realm?
I didn't hear that part, so I heard you mention it, but I didn't hear it on his end or whatever, so I don't know.
It was in one of my live chats.
Type. He doesn't seem like that type to me, but I guess you never know.
Well, I think he's used violence before, but I don't think he would do that to me in this case, but it's certainly within the realm of possibilities. So I'm just saying you might want to take that into consideration, but you obviously are a big boy. You can figure it out for yourself.
He's the king of YouTube. He's got 6 million views on one video.
Well, look, I've got 1.5K on a short that I just did talking to EBT. So, yeah, 6 million is impressive, but it's not the same as 6 million on a real video.
A
But
real video.
511.
He's got
What's that?
500,000 on a real video. 500,000
That
views.
that I am impressed by. Yes, I do find that impressive. But like you pointed out, what is he going to be able to do with his channel moving forward? And I would say, dude, he could have me on, and I can, me, I can intelligently speak on First Amendment auditors. I can speak on some of the sob sit stuff. He doesn't have to do a panel. He could have me. He could pre-record me in a one-on-one conversation and put that on the channel. Like, there's ways to work with what he's got. All I hear is a bunch of excuses, personally.
He doesn't have to go to the buildings like everyone else does. There's too much of that anyway.
Yeah, and I've transitioned more into the frauditor content where people actually just make fun of those people. And like half of them are getting outed as like chomos and shit, for real.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a lot of them are getting outed as like criminals and like with bad charges.
Yeah, I see them in the comments calling them all frauditors. I thought that was a funny word.
Yeah, there's a good channel called Frauditor Troll, and he's a bozo also. But you know me, I'm not really into the people and the personalities. He's also a bozo, but he makes pretty good content if you ever want to check that out. Because like Kim before the what? Go ahead.
What is it called?
Frauditor Troll.
Okay. Fraud.
Yeah, it's got good production values. And Kim before the storm keeps bringing up this Denver Metro audits, and dude, Denver Metro audits has this crazy broad that you will love, man. And dude, Frauditor Troll just makes Denver Metro audits look like a fucking idiot, dude. But Denver Metro audits is like probably autistic also, so he's very like detail oriented and he's very specific with what he's doing. Like the authorities do find it difficult to catch him slipping, so he has a high skill level. But you can tell he's got emotional problems. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
There's too many of those channels now. I can't keep up.
Yeah, and YouTube, I don't know if you know this, Frauditor Troll is teaching people that, like, if I'm the person that works at the city hall and the auditor comes in there, I can actually, if I'm the person who's been filmed, I can actually now go to YouTube and say, hey, I'm in this video. I don't want to be in this video. And I can actually strike the channel.
Really?
Yeah, he's teaching people how to do that.
But they're in public, so how can they do that?
You'll have to watch his content. I don't know. I am really going to park the rig at some point, and I am going to study law. I say 6 months, but I am an exaggerator, and I do engage in hyperbole. I'm going to study the law for about 3 straight months, and I'm going to become a fucking expert. I am going to do this. Hold me to it, by the way, because I know every time I say I'm going to do something, I don't do it. I've noticed that you do that also, so I'm kind of also doing the same thing. So now I have to make myself do it. So I am going to do this. I have enough money now, I can do that. Did I lose you? I lost you. Damn it. Well, there goes Drew World Order. I don't think Drew. Oh, is he coming back? Let's say I don't think Drew appreciates my tone. Sorry, man. Did you drop off, or did I just get too rowdy?
No, I just accidentally like closed out or something. I don't know what I did actually.
I do want to say, man, I know I get a certain tone of voice sometimes, and to some people it might seem like I'm not really directing that at you, but I kind of am because I'm talking to you. But I'm trying to get better at that, man. I really am.
Oh no, it's all good.
It's that weird. What? Go ahead.
Did you buy the Streamlabs? No, that's my next thing I might do. I want to know about it. What did you pay for the whole year?
No, man. I have the money, but it's almost like I have this on my truck driving. I have software that I use for routing on my phone, and it's way cheaper if I just buy a whole year. But I just pay by the month because it's almost like I feel like, well, if I stop truck driving, now I have all this. I'm never going to use it, right? Same thing with the Streamlabs. I'd really rather just pay the extra $5 and be able to cut it off.
And you get with the $20 or $25 a month, you get unlimited streaming or what?
Yes.
Okay, because I might do the. I like the StreamYards; it's pretty good, but then you have the limitations. So
yeah, I like it a lot too.
I just got the backup channel monetized, so now I might do more like panel type things on the backup channel or something. I'm trying to tell.
Oh, nice.
Trying to tell Layla to host her own show on the backup channel.
Dude, I love Layla's content, I have to say.
I told her to do a show called Ask Layla, and then they can just ask her. Not that she knows everything, but just like for her like opinions on all these different topics or whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the fact is, there's not. Shout out to Tranquil Vortex in the chat. There's not that many ladies that I like to listen to. So when there's actually a lady that I like to listen to, I want to hear more. You know, just inherently.
Yeah, she knows a lot about a lot of different stuff. So I think it'd be interesting and get her on there and tell her, hey, super chats get priority. Come on, ask some questions.
Yeah, man, no kidding.
Mind that fiat.
Amen. Yeah, why not? Get that money. I love it.
She does tarot too. I thought she could incorporate that into it a little bit too, maybe.
Yeah, I started to throw down the other night, the Abyss, but then I realized it was on your backup channel. So I'm glad to hear it's now monetized.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure I was going to do that or not, and then I was like, oh, what's the difference? Might as well. But now I have 2 monetized channels. I got to like get going, get grinded, see what I can get.
Yeah, brother. Hey, man, anytime I can help, let me know. I can pre-record material for you. Whatever you want me to do, man, I'll do it for real. Especially now that I'm not drinking.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And, you know, if you don't want to, that's fine. But I do need a fucking banner graphic if you ever get a chance. I know you're busy.
I got you.
Yeah.
What do you want it to look like?
I don't care. I like your style, so whatever, man. I like your style, so whatever.
I'll think of something.
Yeah.
Damn.
You'll figure it out. Wait for inspiration, perhaps, and then strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, what's the next move then in the conspiracy game, or is it just dead?
I think it's my opinion is, and you know, I'm super bad about. I'm not good at predictions, but I do seem to sort of be on the, you know, I do seem to be slightly ahead of the curve with respect to the normies a lot of times. So I think it's just going to be a further integration of truth / conspiracy. Like my boomer dad, literally talking about the universe and thinking he's a Sigma male. Like I think there's just going to be a further integration of those ideas as time goes on. That's what I really see.
Yeah, it's interesting how they can create those things like Sigma male, and then it just instantly enters the zeitgeist or whatever. Just instantly, everyone takes a hold of it.
Yeah, like my mom even was like, "I think you're a Sigma male." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like when I was young, I was a fucking alpha male. Like I was a fucking stereotypical alpha male as a young person. Yeah, now I'm kind of a weirdo, but that doesn't make me a Sigma male. I mean, come on. I had social skills. I got along with people. I played fucking sports. Like, what are you talking about? Sigma male is like that weirdo from American Beauty, the guy next door who took all the pictures. That's your Sigma male.
They want to demonize the alpha male, so then they got to create something to replace it, though, because then now you don't want to say, "Oh, I'm a red-blooded median American male."
Yeah. Dude,
that's a bad guy now.
Sorry to cut you off. When I was a teenager, I was banging that broad that weirdo picture taker guy was trying to fuck. He didn't know how to fuck her. I was already fucking her. Like, for real. But now I'm a Sigma male all of a sudden? I mean, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it's some weirdo shit.
Yeah, apologies for my language there, but people aren't thinking this stuff through, man. They're not thinking it through. That's what, and am I going to get triggered when people don't think shit through? Yeah, it triggers me. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you know how to work these people with phrases like that kind of incorporate everything like a Sigma male or like the psychology behind that, then I think that's how a channel like Archaic succeeds. I think he knows how to tap into those type of like archetypes to create this thing in your mind where you listen to him and now you know all this special shit and now you're an errant. And I think not just Archaic Soul, but other channels that know how to tap into that and create like
I agree.
psychological profiles of their viewers and stuff, and to get them to. That's how you get a big channel. I think you got to do some weird shit like that.
I agree with you, and also I think the audience contributes to pushing it in that direction. I think a lot of the audience, they want a strong leader and they want to be in a group. Yeah, they want that also.
Just like last night, we were seeing Aphrodite Rose Starfire. She put a video up, a short, where it's her arguing with Rump, that guy Ruthless, in the comments of Ken Wheeler, because he jumped from QOC's nutsack to Ken Wheeler's nutsack. Now he rides with Ken Wheeler. So then that's what Layla and I were talking about, is that he's one of these people that he's a dog that needs a master.
Yeah, exactly. He needs a David Miscavige. He wants to be, number 2 in Scientology, and he'll be the one, when they're torturing everybody in the fucking at the Sea Org base or whatever the fuck they call it. He'll be he'll be the main guy administering the punishment, and Miscavige will be there standing there watching. Like, that's literally who that guy is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that too.
Yeah, man, it's sick. But just, when you guys are fueling up people like Kim before the storm, yeah, it is all fun and games until it's not. But, whatever happens, happens. Obviously, I'm putting myself out there publicly on YouTube, so I can't cry about it too much if he goes upside my head one day when I'm not paying attention.
He looks pretty little too, though. I don't know.
Maybe to you.
I don't know if he's 135 little, but.
Oh, I don't know, man. Dude, I'm just ill now. I've never had a problem as a smaller guy. I've never had a problem handling myself.
Well, Santos is a small guy, and he killed that big guy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Little guys are crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, but again, I do want to reiterate, I have a size 12 shoe, and I can palm a basketball. So it's like, I'm kind of this weird combination of small and big at the same time.
You wear size 12? Yeah, I wear a size 12. That's big.
I literally wear a size 12, and I can literally palm a basketball. So
I can't quite palm a basketball.
Yeah, I got big ass hands. So, but yeah, I got little shoulders, and I'm fucking scrawny. But,
you ever watch that guy, The Professor, on YouTube?
Yeah, I do, man. I never had that level of skill.
That dude's badass, dude.
He is, man. Yeah. His moves are kind of like, you can see what he's doing, but he's so good at it, it's like, would be hard to stop. But then there is, with all of that and one stuff, there's an element of the defenders also kind of letting him do it. Let's be honest.
I think they're just low-level defenders.
Maybe. But I also think, like, because I was a pretty good defender back in the day. I think I could defend him, but I know he would get to the fucking hole against me also. But, like,
yeah,
not every fucking time.
If the chat doesn't know what we're talking about, there's this guy named The Professor, and the YouTube channel is called Professor Live. And he was involved with that M1 Street Ball back in the day, and now he has a YouTube channel. He was like the most consistent YouTube channel like last year, constantly releasing stuff. Like I'm subscribed. I don't watch every single one, but I see it in my feed all the time. But it's pretty entertaining to me, I think, because he's so good. Just a little white dude, a tiny little white dude, and he goes to these parks and like hoops on these brothers, embarrasses them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I had a very limited form of that when I played basketball. I wasn't quite to that level, but I could definitely make a layup against a 6'5" black guy at times.
Yeah, his whole shtick is just his handle is so sick, so he's able to just get by anybody.
Well, and the footwork, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
Excellent footwork. Yeah, I love basketball, man.
They had a Netflix show about that N1 recently, I guess.
Oh, really? I got to see that.
Like a documentary, The Rise and Fall of N1. So then I didn't see it either, but then the professor on his YouTube channel came out and kind of like critiqued it or whatever. But for the most part, he said he liked it. Turns out they sold for like $1 billion or something like that. Like,
the clothing company? Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, like he said, he talked about the history of it, how they their first player was Stephon Marbury on their brand, and he broke his leg or something the first game he wore him, so it was like a disaster for their company. So then they decided to go the street ball mixtape route, and then blew up. And then right at the peak, right at the pinnacle, they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated and everything, and he said they sold the company for like $1 billion or something.
Damn, I did not know that. That's badass.
And then it went down, not because of new owner. I think it was just, they knew right when to sell. And then a lot of those players were mad they didn't get any money because, well, they were on contracts, but then they thought maybe since the owners got so much money that at least the founding players thought they should have got a little bit of that money. Which I don't know. I can kind of see their argument, but at the same time, they're on a contract, so.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's where the Jays come in. If it's not the fucking letter of the contract, you ain't getting it.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have to at all, but it would have been nice maybe to. Yeah, but then at the same time, you get into how much money is going to satisfy. If you threw each guy $50,000, they're going to want, no matter what you give them, they're going to want more.
Well, and also, taxes have to come out of that, accounting, like it's a whole thing.
Right.
It's going to actually probably cost 75 to give them 50, but yeah, I understand what the point you're making.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, that was some like early viral content. Really, I used to download that off of like Kazaa or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. That was way ahead of the curve to be on the internet like that. Yeah, people were watching it on the internet exclusively.
They had one of those had the. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think didn't only one guy make it to the NBA that skipped to my Lou guy.
Yeah, Rafer Alston, and he did. I don't think he did a whole lot, but yeah, he was in the league for a minute.
Yeah, he was like a role player only.
He was pretty good though, but that just showed. Yeah. We know about it being fake and all that, but that as far as athletically, that shows you how fucking real the NBA or it used to be. Actually, more and more, I don't think it's even that athletic. Like Legend has pointed out that these guys they're promoting as like the best players really are fucking terrible.
Have you seen that new guy? Well, I shouldn't say new. He's not that new. But I just don't watch it. Is that new guy Luka Doncic or whatever his name is?
Yeah, Luka Doncic. That's one of the ones. Yeah, dude, he's like terrible.
Fat and slow, but he still can dunk. I'm like, how is this guy so fat? And he's like, I mean, he's not like obese, but for a guy that's running all day, every day, zero muscle definition. He's real soft and slow. He's so slow.
Yeah, no athleticism whatsoever.
And that's what Legend talks about, that they say on Sports Center and all that shit. They say the storyline is that he's so slow that he causes problems for the defenders because they're not used to someone moving in slow motion. Yeah, right?
That's bullshit.
That's total bullshit. Yeah, it's got to be rigged like Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, I think that comes down to the, shout out to Quantum of Conscience, the, bad on purpose.
Yeah, in the NFL today, I saw a bunch of videos. I didn't watch too much of it, but they're talking about how the NFL was rigged to set up the Super Bowl. They were calling that guy Patrick Mahomes.
I don't even know who's in the Super Bowl, by the way. Who's in the Super Bowl?
Chiefs and somebody. Here the chat knows. But they were showing how like they thought the game was rigged for the Chiefs to win.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of back to the normie is now a baby truther.
Yeah, it's like it is a trending type thing, which you talk about the NFL being rigged. Even what's that guy's name? I can't remember that guy's name. He's like the NFL pundit guy. He used to be in the league. What's his name now? I can't remember, but he talked about it on ESPN.
Oh, that Pat guy?
Yeah,
Pat
the guy that was in WrestleMania. What the hell's his name? Pat something, though. It is Pat.
Yeah, he used to be a punter, I think, or a kicker or something.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, that guy.
But he even talked about it on the mainstream on ESPN, like, oh, that NFL rigged is trending, and oh, there's no way, all these players would have to be in on it. It's not possible because I was there and I know.
Well, but we know for a fact that an NBA ref rigged games, that Donaghy or whatever, so nobody was in on that. Who was in on that? The Mafia or whatever. Like, See, that's just a false premise that it's impossible because everybody would have to be in on it, meaning that somebody would spill the beans. Like that's not how logic works. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I don't. It's definitely rigged to me when you watch it. So I've seen all it takes is one or two rigged plays a game, really, and the guys are just so good that they can make it happen.
Yeah, and there's like never there's hardly ever just a stinker of a Super Bowl where it's just like nobody even. It's like we don't want to watch these two teams play. It's always almost always some kind of compelling matchup.
Yeah, and then where I'm at in Jacksonville, they're crazy for these Jaguars. Dude, I thought the Vikings were. I thought they were nuts for the Vikings in Minnesota. No, that's nothing compared to these Jacksonville people because that's all they have. Is they don't have a baseball team or anything else.
Oh yeah,
they're nuts about this fucking Jaguars here. Fucking fever.
Yep.
Even after they lost. There was one guy who was trolling his live stream where he's reacting live to the Jaguars game. And he's like, yeah, well, next year we're going to win the division. It's ours next year, after they lost. I'm like, you won the division this year. Why would it be different next year? What? I don't understand. There's no logic to it. It's just an emotional attachment.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I used to be like that with the Razorbacks, but now you guys broke me of that. So now I know sports are fake, so I don't even really watch them anymore.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
I like to watch NBA.
Dude, the NFL is the biggest thing there is, though, now. And Alex Jones has been talking about that for years now. And I can tell you as a truck driver, man, it actually affects my job after these big playoff weekends because so many people fucking party. Oh, we lost Drew again. We'll give him a minute to see if he comes back. But I'll finish up that point if he's listening. Here he comes. Let me hit the button here. Hang on, Drew. We got traffic. Got stuff happening out here on the roadways. Give me just a second here. I'm still trying to figure out why this cell phone mount. Oh, this guy's fucking driving like an idiot. All right. Hold up. Are you here?
Yeah, my bad. I don't know what I keep minimizing the window and I forget I can't do that. Because I have that YouTube Premium where you can just minimize it and it keeps playing. I think I'm thinking of that. But what were you saying about Jones talking about it?
Yeah, how the NFL is like the biggest thing in society. He's been saying that for years. And man, working as a truck driver, like the day after all of these big NFL playoff weekends, bro, these people are worthless, man. They all partied all weekend. If I'm in Dallas and the Cowboys lost, half the people fucking call in sick. Everybody's depressed. I can't hardly get the truck loaded. It's crazy, man. It like really affects society, like noticeably.
Oh yeah.
Same thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
Some fuckface on eBay gave me a fucking neutral review. And so it wasn't bad. It was my first neutral review.
Oh, wow.
He was mad because I'm pretty sure he's just mad the Jaguars lost. So he bought a Jaguars jersey before the game. Nike 2XL. He gets it and gives a neutral review and says, oh, it only fits XL, which no, this is not true. This thing's fucking huge, dude. And I post the measurements and everything on there. So a typical extra large is 24 inches wide, laid flat across the chest. This one's 26 and a half inches wide and 32 inches long. It's huge, dude. And he's trying to say, oh, it only fits XL. So I think he's just butthurt the Jag lost. Oh. Or this guy's so fucking fat that he doesn't fit in a 2XL anymore and he's mad at me.
Yeah, he gained too much weight over the holidays.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, this only fits XL because I'm 2XL. Well, you're 3XL now, buddy.
Yes, sir. Sorry, these people are driving crazy, so let these fools get away from me.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I personally think he's just butthurt the Jaguars lost, so he's got to like take a jab where he can at someone.
Ah, that's fucked up, man. Because that eBay rating is serious, right?
Yeah, but I request to get it removed, so we'll see. I've had a few like that, and they take care of it. The eBay does if you're pretty consistent. Like I explained to them, I include the measurements, and this thing's fucking gigantic. It's not an XL.
What do you think when somebody just like doesn't get feedback?
I don't care about that really.
I buy on eBay occasionally, and I hardly ever get feedback.
Yeah, it happens like a lot actually. Probably more than half don't give any feedback.
Yeah, but if they fuck up, I'm probably still not going to get feedback. It's like whatever. I think Sam Hyde is not going to. I think he stole my $75 though.
Oh, you didn't get that shirt yet?
I don't think I'm going to get it, man. I accidentally typed in the wrong zip code, and then I sent him an email about it, and I've sent him a ton of emails. I never get a response. I honestly think I'm just not going to happen.
How long should you have gotten it by now?
Probably. I had it sent to my mom's house, and I haven't heard anything. So I don't know, man. I really haven't had time to deal with it. So,
I think his shit though is like mostly like pre-order, so isn't it? So I think his shit is like he takes the money first, and then he knows how many to print, maybe a little extra.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
So then it probably will take longer than a regular store anyway.
That
he
could
doesn't want to get stuck with. That's a smart way to do it. You don't want to get stuck with fucking 200 extra shirts that aren't gonna sell.
Yeah. Although his shit's been going up over time, he could probably wait a year and sell it for way more.
On eBay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, some of these shirts are fucking insane money.
Yep.
Yeah, if there's like a brand name attached to it or a band or something, like Sam Hyde, I could totally see that being worth money.
Yeah, if I ever get it, we have to have some kind of truther fucking convention, so I have somewhere to wear the shirt.
Yeah, that'd be tight.
Hell yeah, dude.
Did you see that fucking wrestler guy that died?
No, man. So many of them die, it's hard to keep track.
Well, there's this guy, I never really heard of him before. He was in like the minor league shit. But it was him and his brother. And they're called the Briscoe brothers, and they play these like rednecks from the South. They come out to the ring in like Confederate flag and shit. But they weren't allowed in the major leagues because 10 years ago, one of the brothers said on Twitter, like, gay marriage passed in wherever they're from, Delaware. He said, gay marriage passed. That's cool, but if you try to teach my kids that, I'll fucking kill you. He tweeted that shit. And then he had another tweet that said he was in New York and he used a slur. He's like, I can't believe how many of these homos are here, but he used the slur.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 years ago, and he apologized and donated a bunch of money, and they still wouldn't let him on the big league. But then he died in a car accident. And then
shit.
Even after that, they weren't going to allow like a tribute to this guy just because of this tweet 10 years ago. And then finally, like the fans pressured him into they had a tribute to him on the air. And then his brother, who's still alive, wrestled on the main show or whatever. But so even his brother wasn't allowed on there. His brother didn't even do the tweet. So that just goes to show if you go against the gay mafia, you're canceled forever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No
even though he apologized and donated money and everything.
Well, yeah, we have to be tolerant, but they're some of the most intolerant people there are.
Right.
Yeah. Not cool, man.
That Twitter, man, they just use anything against you. Your whole life, man. 10-year-old tweet. And he claims he was in character where he's like a redneck. They're really from Delaware, but they look like some fucking rednecks. So he claims he was just tweeting like in character.
Are those the guys that used to go on with Jim Rome a lot? He used to have some wrestlers on there.
I'm not sure. I had heard of them, but I'd never seen them until the dude died. And then I kind of looked them up, and they're actually pretty fucking tight. They're like old school style, right? They're none of this new shit. They're like old school as fuck. They're tight.
Yeah, man. I know you're a pretty big wrestling fan. I like it some of the time. So
some of it's so far over the fucking top nowadays. I like the old school shit. Although that was over the top too with Ultimate Warrior and all that types of shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like Macho Man.
Oh yeah, Macho Man was the shit. I like listening to those guys' shoot stories on the internet. They tell all the stories of when they're traveling the towns and shit. Like it's a crazy lifestyle, dude. You're on the road 300 days a year.
Oh yeah, man, it's nuts. I watch some of that stuff here and there. I check out some of those videos.
They talk about everyone says the toughest one out of all of them back in the day was Ravishing Rick Rude. Supposedly he would like knock anybody out.
Damn.
He was kind of little compared to those other guys. Like he was shredded, but he was the smaller type dude.
Yeah, that's true. It ain't always the size, but I ain't trying to give up 100 pounds either.
Yeah, apparently he could just like one punch KO people.
Yeah, hopefully my days of physicality are over with, man. I'm coming up on 50, brother.
Well, we'll see if Cam hunts you down.
Oh man.
He's after you, bro.
He's after something that he ain't gonna find it here, whatever he's after.
And you think he's trying to rape JG or what?
I don't know, man. It's getting fucking weird though, I have to say.
Has he been back on your stream since he rage quit?
No, but I do want to point out to him that this is how the internet works. That's a rage quit. It doesn't. If you come on and talk over somebody with a raised voice and then you disconnect, that's a rage quit. It's just what that is. There's no.
He'll be back.
Yeah, that's fine. He's welcome back, man. But it's like I'm still going to say whatever I want to say to him. You know, what the fuck? Why wouldn't I?
I saw Gert had the new channel.
Yeah, he had a video. I watched the video this morning before I went live.
I didn't watch it. I saw the video, but I didn't watch it yet. What did he say?
I think he was trying to explain, I guess, a little bit of contrition for some of his actions towards people. Apparently, his main man, Truly Bursting, who used to make beats for him, got all offended when he deleted the channel. So he's apologizing to him. Making some points about I'm trying to stay away from the Christianity just because this is not a religion. I'm not into the religious discussion. So, you know, that's not the topic of conversation. It comes up here and there, but I think he's trying to make the point that a lot of people have murdered in the name of Christianity, but then people like Kim Before the Storm just say, oh, well, those weren't real Christians, but that's like a logical fallacy, which is it's a bullshit argument as far as I'm concerned. Because that means literally Christians can't do anything wrong, because if a Christian does something wrong, we just say, well, that wasn't a real Christian.
Well, that's the same. That's the same that wasn't real communist people.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Communism always fails, but it's never been attempted because those weren't real communists. Yeah, exact same thing. But you know, Kim also said that he's been to China, and that part of him wants to live in China, and he even mentioned the word collectivism. I don't even think he knows that collectivism is a code word for communism. Something's going on, man. I don't know what's wrong with the guy, but
yeah, that's weird. I didn't hear him say that, but I believe you. But
yeah, well, I think if I take a day off, because I do want to point out I've literally worked every day in January except for one so far, but if I think my physical safety will allow it, I believe I'm going to take a day off here pretty soon. And I may just spend all day fucking chopping some of these clips together and responding to them. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, easier said than done.
I mean, you know, I'm able to do it. I've done it before, but fuck, it's at this point, it's like I don't even really want to.
The hardest part is like the editing, and it's like it's almost would be worth it to pay an editor, but then at the same time, like any editor worth his salt would be it probably wouldn't even be they would want more money than it would be worth for you, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey.
Well, I mean, yeah, really it's just I think a lot of it is I could go back and find the timestamps and then just play it live and, you know, just respond to it, but yeah, it's a big investment of time, so
oh yeah.
Maybe that won't happen, but and real quick, I do want to let JG know I am going to bring him on. I just I figured we'd go ahead and talk to you solo, and then
is he on there? I'm gonna head out anyway, so he's gonna say I'm skipping him or something. But
Well, let me see if he's still here. He may have dropped out. Yeah, he's still here. I'll bring him on next. So, and I like talking to JD, but and I have been critical of him here and there, just for the record. But I'm trying to it's like I remember what it's like to live in that lifestyle. So, he doesn't have a lot of people he can talk to. Let's be honest. So, I'd like to hear the man out. He does repeat the same stories quite a bit. That is true. Yes.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna drop out. I gotta go start my day. But
Yeah, man.
I'll be
Appreciate you
popping
stopping.
in out of the chat.
Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. Peace.
All right. That was Drew World Order. Always good to see him around the YouTube streets over here, as Yurt likes to say. Welcome anytime, of course. We'll bring on JG now. JG, what's it all about, brother?
Oh, Drew's leaving now, huh?
Yeah, he's leaving.
Yeah, he hears I'm backstage and he leaves.
Yeah, he bounced.
Nah, I'm
I
playing.
figured he would. Yeah, I
I'm
figured
playing.
he'd probably just. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
probably.
gonna.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna pull that shit.
Yeah. You're a good man, JG. It's tough in these streets.
Yeah, I noticed. I told some of the same stories. I did notice that, but I'll stop doing that.
Every once in a while is okay. As long as it's not excessive, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have to bounce anybody out of here, so I'd rather just let you talk. But yeah, if you can limit that, that's always good. But anyway, how was your night? Did you get some sleep, or what's going on?
Of course.
Awesome. Yeah, I was talking earlier. I don't know. You may have still been asleep, but I was talking earlier about how it can be kind of hard to get sleep in the streets. But maybe you find it to be easy. I don't know. In my experience, it could be difficult at times.
Well, you got to find a secluded area, somewhere you can go where nobody's going to be walking up on
you. Yep.
Like, you can't just sleep like in a downtown area. I always try to find a wooded area.
Oh yeah, wooded areas are the best. I agree.
Yeah.
Urban camping.
Yeah. It's actually kind of fun, like stealth camping, like trying to find a spot that's real stealthy.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. As long as did the critters ever come around? You see some possums or raccoons?
Yeah, I just I'll throw a rock at them.
Yeah, I've thrown my shoes at possums before.
Yeah.
Run them off. But I always made sure not to ever have food where I was sleeping.
Yep.
I didn't want the raccoons and shit coming around.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just charging up my phone. I got kicked out of that spot by the tracks.
Oh shit!
Well,
the cops came. The cops or what?
The guy rolled up and he just stops and he's looking at me. So I just started looking at him. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I stood up and I was like, "What's up?" And he's like, "You're on private property." I was like, "All right, well, say something then. Don't just stare at me." And he kind of like, you could see he was kind of bummed and he just drove away.
Wow. So no more hanging out over there, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh well, that happens.
Yeah, I should get a solar panel pack. Those things are amazing.
Yeah, man. I've heard they're pretty good. They're affordable too, right?
Yeah. I told you before. I'm just saying that now.
Do you ever buy shit on Amazon?
Yeah, so I got that the solar panel pack I had. I got that on Amazon for like $40. It's called Rhino Tuff, TUFF.
Okay. Nice.
And yeah, they work great, man.
Sweet.
I had that shit out in Hawaii. So when I was in Hawaii, sleeping on the beaches, I would just set that shit up.
Sweet.
So, Yeah, that
Yeah,
comment
man.
towards
What?
that comment towards Drew about him beating his wife. I'm just fucking breaking his balls. I'm just fucking with him the way he's fucking with me.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah.
We know Layla though. She's in the chat. We know her. She's a nice lady.
But I mean, people can't handle a taste of their own medicine.
Well, that's true. That's oftentimes true. You're right there. I'm not here to police people's behavior, so. But like I said, Layla's a nice lady. We like her. She has a lot of cool, interesting things to say. Yeah, but man, I think I'm gonna try to maybe do some shorter streams. Although I don't really want to stop right now. I'm about to go to my fuel stop, so I'm trying to figure out with the long streams. I've really been tiring myself out. I was pretty tired yesterday between the streaming and the driving. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see you're getting tired of it. I can see I'm bothering you.
I don't think you're bothering me, JG. I think that I've got a lot going on, but I'm not really tired of the live streaming so much as just kind of like burning the candle at both ends. But yeah, what I'm thinking about maybe doing is just doing a stream like I did today in the morning, and then maybe taking a break, and then maybe being around later. If you wanted to come on later, we could chop it up. Because I do like I like the back and forth. And in the afternoons, we seem to kind of get on we had a good rhythm yesterday afternoon, I thought. Playing music. I want to get set up to play music eventually, but not like on a phone speaker, you know. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, you might be working your way into co-hosting duties if that's something you're interested in.
Nah, I can't do it. I'm just.
Well, you don't
right
have.
now, I'm just. Kinda,
you don't have to commit to it.
Yeah, right now I'm just kind of hanging out, but
yeah,
I definitely got to get back to doing construction.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't mean like as a commitment, just as when you're around, you're the co-host. But if you're not here, you're not the co-host. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's up to you, man. If you say no, I'm not going to push it. It's completely fine. I just have all these ideas, and then so like I have to try, you know.
Yo.
But anyway, it's good talking to you, brother. And shout out to the chat. It's good to see everybody here. I think I'm going to end this one here, and I'll probably be back later. So thanks for watching. For myself and JG, bye.